Order. Everyone please rise, face our flag for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Everybody can be seated. I hope everyone had a terrific 4th of July. Welcome to our meeting. We've got a full slate, so we're going to get right on into it. The council members, all of you have the approval of the agenda here tonight. The agenda for tonight, is there any additions or changes to the agenda or any items to be presented in other business that should be added to the agenda at this time?
Just that one item under manager's report.
One item under the manager's report and
And one under the resolution.
one under the resolution. Item number 7, right?
Yes, sir.
Brief comment under that, there's really not changing, and that is
Okay. So we'll do that right there and there. If not, any further, I'll entertain a motion for approval of our agenda. And a second.
Second.
All in favor, a show of hands, please. 5-0 on the approval of our agenda for tonight. Also, you have the minutes of our regular meeting from June 2nd of 2020 and the joint meeting that we had with the county on June 29th. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, show of hands for that. 5-0 on that one. At this time, we'll open up the floor for public comments on our agenda items and our agenda items only. Citizens are encouraged to comment at this time on any of the items that we have on our agenda. The comment time is limited to 3 minutes, which I have on my phone tonight. So I'll kind of give you a little dot there if you want to speak. Anybody who would like to come to the podium may do so now. Being no movement, we will move on to our agenda item number 5, which is an update, I believe, on our US 21 road market given by Mr. D.W. Miles.
Thank you for scheduling me in and all the good work that you fellows do. I wanted to report on our job fund first on it, about it's all a part of all the take a break, and this is all part of the Miles Job Fund. We have now, it's been 12 years since we organized it, and it's still functioning as intended, and it's doing a good job. The loans we make range in vocational and additional trades for business and expanding businesses. And we need your ideas as we go along to help us make decisions on this quality. We have made 80 loans, and we have created and sustained 105 jobs. And we have only had 3 loans that we didn't collect. One was a legal problem, one was a death, and one was a divorce. So that was the 3, then they were about half paid out. So the money we started with, that me and Barbara put in, and we've received some donations from the Golden Leaf Foundation and the North Carolina Rural Center. We have collaborated with them on some loans, and the bank sends us referrals on funds that they can't fund themselves. They'll send them to us. But it's been very good, and we've got people that one particular that I enjoy talking about. We don't talk names because that's our business, but we funded a credit line for a air conditioning company, and just one employee and an assistant at that time. Now they have expanded out and bought their own property, and they have 8 or 10 employees. And we have several in that category. That's why we have 105 jobs that sustain. Some of them is out, some of them changed their occupation, and some of them didn't make it. But we got their loans paid back, and we give them opportunity. So we do have, we critiqued our loan portfolio, and we'd have 105 that confirmed that we are still employed. And we've made, in the streetscape uptown in that area, which we're all proud of, we've made 13 loans in that area there. So some of them are active and still good, and some have been paid out. So, and we have 3 loans in the past 2 weeks that have not been funded yet, but they've been approved. So that will consist of 6 jobs when they happen. So there's opportunities to people that we're very proud that happened. And we have also had donations from the citizens of the county. And we'll send you a letter too. If you don't ask, no, I hope this is a positive meeting. We ain't asking for no money. So I know you've had the request for some money a few times. But anyhow, we're proud of what we've accomplished, and we've had, and most of all, proud of the support that's been given. As some of you, that's not hardly as old as I am, but used to be when you went to the bank, they wanted collateral first, and then they wanted to know about your character a little bit, and then they wanted your dad to sign a note with you. That's the procedure that they went through. Now none of that's functional anymore. It's all about your income tax return. If you ain't got no income tax return that show no money, you can't borrow no money. So that's what it's changed a whole lot since I got my first loan to do business. I know I had to provide the collateral, and I hope I had enough character, and I had my daddy to sign. And so that's kind of the way it worked. The board members are all volunteers. There's no funds paid to anybody, and even our accountant and the bank helps with their accounting a whole lot, because they do. We put the money in the bank to guarantee the loan, and they send out the statements. If we had to hire help to do that, that would take a lot of our funds. But it's really an unusual situation, and we've shared it with several other people, and it's other counties, and they would like to. They've got something similar to that in Wilkes County now. They got the idea from us, but theirs is a different plan a little bit, the way they distribute the money to the entrepreneurs. The board members they're all, one of the requirements is that they be self-employed, so they know what it takes to make a payroll and still receive a check from a payroll. And that's just experience that we feel they need, and we've got a couple that's not on, but they've got a background in that. They've got a banker and the educational person involved with us that can help us with training of the jobs. But anyhow, that's the basic of and they're all, it's required of them to our board members to be that, and any time that you all would like any information on it, you can call me or a board member, and we'll share that. We've got to share anything with you that you might have a question about. And the take a break from the interstate, the road market is the most obvious thing that we do. And first of all, they were going to have it this year, whether we did or not. So we're not promoting it that much. But at the same time, the people are going to set up and have it. The fairgrounds are not going to be renting space this year, but there's several other people that's got large parking lots that they are going to make it available. So we started getting calls in January of this year about it, and and it's been very rewarding to see the people that gain from it. Is what pleases me the most. Our citizens, and the most important asset we've got in this county. They're the ones that opens the door for us every day, and they're the ones we need to look after most priority. And we like to treat the others, we call them guests instead of tourists. I think that's a little more personal. And we have traffic, we got in the handouts we give on the back page, it shows the number of the increase in traffic Virginia did, North Carolina did one for us too. The state's been very cooperative, putting safety signs out for us and all. But they have, they will show you the traffic increase that we've had in page 2 on that. So, but it's, the benefit comes back to our local citizens, and we get all kinds of compliments on that, because we counted last year, we traveled it, and you gotta really travel it to see how special it is, it's become, because it's, over the 100 miles that we've created is about 3,000 vendors, the best we can count from the people. We got 8 towns involved, and you're talking about unity, and if we can take two states and 8 towns and we all get along for 7, 8 years, unity is possible. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us there. But anyhow, the average sales usually of the 3 days of just a household is about $1,500. And a lot of times that pays the kids way back to school. They buy new clothes and they pay their school expense to start back. So that is very positive in our mind. And plus the professionals, they get $7,000-8,000 a day, and some of them, and you can see some of them are here in the county. That takes, I mean, it increases their revenue, plus the motels, and they all fill up. The restaurants sell out of food and have to close up to make more. And the community stores, Wayne says the best days he's had is when the road market goes on. So it is, it's been very successful, and we appreciate everybody's support of it. And the town helps us. They waive the fees during that 3 days, and that always helps there, because we get calls from everybody. What does it cost, and where do we set up, and they got to pay for the setup if they rent like from the fairgrounds. But we don't charge anything. It's mostly our employees that set up at our place. But anyhow, the pipe factory over here, they practically charge nothing, but they like to have the traffic to sell their product too. But we travel 100 miles, and it's 8, and along this route, it'll lead on to some other things that I think could help in some things you folks have been working on. These 8 state and national parks in this 100 miles. That's almost unheard of, to have that many. I mean, they ain't just little places. They got the Grayson Highlands, and it's 15 minutes away from 21. And we've got 3 of them right here in Allegheny. We got the New River, and we got the Blue Ridge Parkway, and we got Stone Mountain. That's 3 of the major ones, and them people need, they love to promote with you, and all this don't cost anything that we're doing. We got the TDA. We request for all 8 members $500 as a membership fee for each of us, and that prints out the things that you just Wayne handed out to you folks, and then we if we spend some extra for advertising, we request that from the TDA too. See, it's all tax money. I mean, tourism, and our mission is to call is to economic development through growth, and also when we like to treat them as guests to visit with us. So that is in itself is really successful. And the ones that not aware with 21, which I am, and I was in high school, I worked with Joe Dowden. He's a brother to his uncle to Richard Dowden. He had an all-night service station down here where the bank is, First Third Bank is now. And there was also a restaurant on the other corner of that, and both of them were open 24 hours, 7 days a week. And the traffic from the Great Lakes to Florida traveled this Highway 21 to go to, and many of the travels, it had car carriers, most of them, that the night traffic was, they bring buses, they was building buses at High Point. They had a bus thing, and then they would travel through here, and they'd stop to gas up at the Shell station there where I worked on the weekends. But that's just a little bit of what about, it's known as the Great Lakes to Florida Highway. It only went to South Carolina for a while, and then it merged with Route 17 and went on to Florida later on. So it's referred to as a restaurant over at Speedwell. It's called the Lakes to Florida Restaurant, and they have reopened. It's closed, but it reopened since we started the road market. So we want to feature Highway 21 other than just the for the road market, and they got the catalyst for that is free to us to promote is state national parks along the way. But the most important thing here that we've got to offer is the beauty of our land and our people that live here. And if they can get a little sample of that, most of them want to come back. So Donna Ham works with me. She's an expert on designing the things that she handed out. She does a wonderful job and takes hundreds of calls, and we get several at our office too. And but we do a wonderful job together as a team working on, and we really enjoy this. And also the traffic count is handed out in that package that Wayne gave you. What Virginia does, I made mention that earlier, but they tried one in North Carolina, but it was a time thing that they just did it for certain hours, and it wasn't accurate. It didn't match up with anything else we had. But the take a break from the interstate is the plan that it runs parallel with 77, so it's about exactly the same distance and as 77, but it gives a variation of something to enjoy as you're traveling. So we got lots of ideas we want to do, and we appreciate the suggestions of what we can do to. But the biggest thing is, like I say, our people and our beauty of our county and these state and national parks that's along here. That they're all free to everybody. They belong to all of us, and they can hiking trails and canoeing, fishing, and the other thing is not even mention the Continental Divide, the Roaring Gap. If you shower on the south side, you go to the Atlantic Ocean. It goes to the Yadkin River, and on the north side, it goes to the New River and to the Pacific. So that's a landmark, and also the Appalachian Trail runs across that Grace National. And so, but anyhow, that's kind of a summary of what we want to do, and it's not just part of the road market. We hope to do many other good things too. And did you folks have any questions at all that I could help to answer? And if you have something we're doing, or if it's now or later on, I'd be glad to talk with you about them. And I'd like to summarize one thing on it is unity of things working together. And we had a bumper sticker that I prepared one time, is together we make good things happen. And that's the only way that you can successfully get things. And when you've got everybody on the same boat, you're gonna succeed. If you got one going one way and one another, which I've observed that, and I hope that can be changed into where we all on the same trip. And but you can do that. And Wayne, you got anything else you want to say to it?
Yeah, you're done good, Pop.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Folks, what Dad's all about is the community here. He wants them all to work together more closely than we have in the past. He's managed to bring those 8 towns together for this project, and if he can get 8 towns together and all them put money in the same pot, we can do some of that for all of 21 and the growth of our community. And thank you very much for the time that you give Dad, and thank you for his support, and think large. Thank you.
Anything,
Well,
any questions anybody
I
have?
don't have a question, but I think on behalf of the Sparta Town Council and the citizens of Sparta and the county of Allegheny, we thank you for your efforts in trying to make our place a better place and bringing people to see our beauty and our people. And I know that your heart has always been to the point where you want to see Allegheny grow and Sparta grow. And we thank you for the opportunities that you have give people with your job fund. I myself was a recipient of one of those at one time, and I appreciate that. So we appreciate what you have done or doing and continue to do for our community, DW. Appreciate
I
you.
appreciate the comment on that, by employees and the people that live here, our citizens, I give credit for any
Yes.
success I've had. And, I appreciate that, and I hope that any investment I've had is better right here in Allegheny.
There you go.
Than nowhere else.
And
Thank you.
also go on record, you're our favorite Cherokee dancer, so.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah. We appreciate you. We'll move on our agenda, and at this time, we had an addition, and I'm gonna let, Councilmember Terry McGrady or Millie go first. Millie Richardson will go first here on her addition. He's not here.
Yeah,
We're skipping
he
agenda
called,
number
he
6.
called and said he wouldn't be able to make it.
Mr. Zach's not here.
Okay, just a couple of comments, we discussed it at the Monday meeting with the town and the county. John, can you hear me?
You're good.
Yeah.
Yep, you're good.
Thank you, John. That was an excellent presentation that we had. One of the cornerstones that was repeatedly mentioned was tourism. So I did a little research and brought up some information that I had on hand, speaking of tourism, and I read fast. So if you all want me to slow down, please say so. This is pretty much encapsulates other aspects of tourism. And this came from Southern Exposure, Everybody's Business, The People's Guide to Economic Development. It actually came out in 1986, which makes it more appropriate because these things are what we're basically dealing with now. Virginia's for Lovers, stay see Georgia, visit wild and wonderful West Virginia. Welcome to the latest episode of the Southern States Scramble for Dollars and Jobs. Tourism is the new name of the game. Many state development officials now court hotel and resort developers with the same adore that order. They, according to manufacturers, tourism already ranks among the top growth industries in several southern states. It is a powerful economic force in many areas along the Atlantic and Gulf Coast and the Appalachian Mountains and in urban resort centers like Orlando. The total dollars generated by travel and tourism makes it among the top 4 business activities in the majority of the southern states. A clean, safe industry, an influx of tourists and investment dollars, and a bonanza of jobs. These are the benefits promised local communities by supporters of tourism, but for people who have no business to own or capital to invest, that is, for most poor and working class Southerners, the benefits of tourism are more mixed. Tourism involves more than a simple addition of a few new businesses and jobs in the economic mix of a local economy. It involves the entire way of life, which tends to transform the existing patterns of land ownership, indigenous culture, political relationships, and the economic base. Some potential problem areas that individuals and community groups facing tourism growth should consider are land ownership. Tourism tends to send land values skyrocketing, and property taxes follow accordingly. Unable to pay their taxes, rural people whose primary resource for generations has been their land can lose it in a matter of months, especially along waterfronts. The sale of property can cut off community access to traditional fishing, etc. Areas which represent important sources of food and income. Among the tactics community groups have used to combat these problems are development of low-interest loan funds to assist individuals with tax payments, monitoring of land sales, promotion of leasing under specified terms rather than outright sale of land, land trust, in which property is jointly owned, and community education about the economic cultural value of land. Culture. People with a distinct cultural heritage, such as blacks who live on the coastal islands of South Carolina and Georgia, typically find their way of life eradicated by the growth of tourism. This occurs through erosion of traditional economic base, for example, fishing and agriculture, changes in the class and racial mix of the community, and the deliberate creation of an ambience of leisure, ease, and entertainment. Promotional literature about these island paradises adds the final touches to depicting the communities as wealthy white playgrounds, and by rewriting their history to eliminate black slavery and other intrusions of reality. Community groups have combined these trends through educational products, combated these trends through educational products, cultural festivals, museums, oral history, and other activities designed to protect and celebrate their heritage. Now, we're not on the coast, I get that, but this still pertains to us and our unique heritage in our area. Jobs. There's little doubt that tourism tends to create a large pool of new jobs in a community. However, the quality of these jobs is another matter. Maid, cook, waitress, gardener, sales clerk, these are the occupations of a tourist economy. They are jobs at the bottom of the service sector where pay is low and benefits are few. Due to the seasonal nature of tourism, these jobs may also be temporary, which reduces their annual pay even further, challenging the quality of tourist-related jobs is a formidable task. Unionization, job training, and organized pressure on employers to hire from the local population for higher level positions have all been tried, but to date, the success rate has been low. Politics, insofar as tourism transforms the economy base and social mix of the community, it also affects the local politics. Developers and businesses dependent on tourism become powerful political forces in locations where retirement and second-home development has flourished. The makeup of the voting population can shift drastically. The consequences for elections and political control conflicts and flare between business and interest and community groups over the location of water and sewer projects, the role of local police, and the allocation of revenues from taxes. Lifelong residents and more recent arrivals, especially retirees, are struggling over the amount of funds allocated to public institutions like schools. In areas where tourism has already taken over the economy, community groups have found it nearly impossible to rectify these problems. Their experiences offer grim and important warning, and those who live in areas where tourism is just beginning, community organization must be prepared to address these problems or stop tourism altogether. If they seek economic development that truly benefits the poor and working class people. Now, that's just for people's consideration. That's kind of the other side of the coin. Tourism is touted as the cornerstone of all our economic development, but as these people have seen, and we are in the process of seeing, not everybody wants to mow yards and clean houses. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Terry, you want to add something?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to do is on the resolution, like I say, I'm all for it, that's no problem. But somewhere in there, I'd like to see an amendment that after 1 year's time, somebody from that group comes to us and gives us a report of what the progress is, what they've accomplished that year. And, I don't think we need to stick our necks out 2, 3, 5 years. Let's go a year at a time. 'Cause I know Ricky said 3 to 5 or something one time, and I think 1 year at a time is all we need to go, because you don't know what's gonna happen down the road.
Yeah, can I comment to that? Is that okay, Mr. Mayor? Thank you. Terry, I agree with you, and we would definitely come back and give you a year's progress report. It's important for you to know what's going on. It's important for you to know what progress is being made. But when I talk about something 3, 5 years out, an endeavor like this is not going to transform us in a short period of time. But you should see milestones that are actually happening. So we have to have both short-term and intermediate term and longer-term goals. But your point is 100% right. And if we're not making progress, we want feedback so that we can. And if we're not making progress, then we want feedback to help guide us. But we're going to work diligently, because I think DW's point is exactly right. It is about us in this endeavor coming together, bringing the town, the county, business, citizens to move forward to make our community better, so that we rise all boats. And that's our endeavor. It is a noble and hard endeavor. But to be accountable is what we said we were going to be. And your point is very well taken. And I don't know how you do that, Mr. Town Manager or Mr. Mayor, but we would definitely, and we truthfully would like to report even more than that if you'll have us. because we want you to know where we are and what's going on and help guide, because you're a partner financially, and you're a partner spiritually, and you're a partner in making your town and our county better. So we want you to be a part of this, not an observer, but a part. And the way that is to communicate both ways so that we get the right outcomes. So thank you for that comment.
Mr. McGrady, are you saying that you want some wording in this resolution that says we're committing to this, this new organization, but we're not committing to any funding past that first year? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
what
pretty
I'm
much
hearing
every
you
year.
say?
I mean, yeah, we'd have to budget them every year is what I'm,
Right. So this resolution, you don't want to be economically binding. So do we need to add any,
I would comment that, I would offer that, no, it doesn't bind anything. There's nothing in this resolution that binds all this is a support. The council has total control every year over the budget. That budget is presented, and the majority of the folks will make that determination. The majority of the council votes on this category would be under special appropriations. And every year, the council has the opportunity to comment on that, and if there was a majority vote to eliminate a particular appropriation, that would be done. So I think that's total control over any appropriations beyond any given budget year.
Would the council feel comfortable having a report done every 6 months from the new organization to show the progress? Would that be like semi-annual? I mean,
That's fine.
would that make the council comfortable to show that they are making progress, or?
I think it would be more of an understanding with this new group, that they would report to us periodically, hopefully at least every 6 months. I don't know that needs to be in the wording or anything like that, but that would be the understanding.
Just something along those lines, maybe twice a year or
So,
something like that.
Brian, you need a motion to approve this resolution? I'll make that motion.
If I may, before we.
You want a motion, let me get cold?
To echo what Brian said, I mean, we approve the budget every year. And if things go as we hope they will with private investment, that amount could decrease as years go on. For me, this is more than just tourism. This is something that needs to happen. I left for 9 years, and when I came back to Sparta, came back because this is home. The biggest changes that we had, I could get a draft beer and a mixed drink, and there was live music, and we had fast internet. For the span of 9 years, that's not a lot. So for us to move forward, I think this is something that needs to happen. And the grant opportunities that these guys are going to be looking at full-time, that's going to reduce the number of people coming to the town and coming to the county and asking for money. It's going to put more jobs in our county and our town. That's going to be more money in people's pockets. That's going to be more money going into the local economy. For me, I think it just makes sense.
like I say, I've not got anything against it. I just want to make sure our money's going to the right spot and doing the right thing. That's what I'm after.
So I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion to accept the resolution with these
With these understandings.
understandings. And do I have a second? Any other further discussion? Show of hands in favor of the resolution, and those that are against. 3-2. Resolution will pass. We'll move on to agenda item number 8, Town of Sparta Retirement Plan. And Ms. Peggy Schultz going to enlighten us on that.
Okay, for our retirement with BB&T, the Department of Labor has increased its focus on how we qualify. The plan deals with uncashed checks and accounts belonging to lost participants. So they have presented us with a policy, and a lost participant is a participant or beneficiary who cannot be located and whose account becomes distributable, or a participant or beneficiary who does not cash a distribution check from our retirement. So we have to have a policy according to the Department of Labor now with our BB&T retirement plan. And they have presented us with an addendum to our administrative services to put in place a policy for lost participant distributions. And we have already had a policy about an automatic rollover. So what's gonna happen with this, if a participant does not cash a check, then it will be automatically rolled over and held in trust until either they can be found or it goes into guidelines with the state. But we have to have a policy in place, so this is what this is about.
Do they have a certain time to claim this if they're not found within a certain time?
Well, what happens, it takes it out of our hands here at the town and it puts it in BB&T's hands to either find somebody or, like I said, give it to the state and the state has it in trust.
Gotcha.
Mr. Mayor, I would just offer that the possibilities of having much of this is pretty minuscule.
Slim to none.
Slim to none. This is designed more for larger corporations and a lot of people moving around, and we pretty well know where our folks are.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have any
Thank you.
lost
You have
participants.
Just need a
I just
motion to
need for
accept.
us to approve this policy.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Show of hands in favor, 5-0 on that. We have, on our agenda, an ABC board business, having a board appointment. Brian, do you wanna
I will.
take over that?
Robert Andrews has served the town on the ABC board. His term, a 3-year term, is expiring in June, and he has been recommended by the chairman for reappointment. So I would present that for the council's consideration.
I move the reinstate Rob. Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Show of hands in favor of that, 5-0 Robert Andrews onto the board appointment.
Next item there, Mr. Mander, is a contract. We currently have a contract to provide law enforcement services. This has been a long-standing situation. The current contract was worded to the effect that it was good for 3 years and could be extended. The state board has requested that the town update our contract. So the contract is exactly the same as it has been in the past, we just changed the dates. The town of Sparta does provide for law enforcement to the ABC board. And that's, again, that's the way it's been really, as far as I know, from the,
Nothing's changed other than
nothing has
dates.
changed at all,
So
except
how long
the
is this
dates.
contract?
For, let's see, I think I made it for, in a term ending on June 30th, 2022, or until such time as either party desires to cancel the contract and gives 30-day notice. So it's a two-year contract.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Have a motion of approval, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? Show of hands of approval, 5-0. That contract. If you wanna go on into the Title VI
I do.
policy.
DOT has requested us, we have to comply with a federal and state fund highway subrecipient requirement. I think this has been around for a long time, but we've never acted on it. We actually operate under a High Country Council of Governments plan, and Allegheny County is included in that. John Brady serves on the RPO board up there. I also serve on a board up there. So we believe we have been covered under this policy by being members of the High Country Council RPO transportation plan. However, it was recommended that the town go ahead and adopt this Title VI non-discrimination policy statement. And it is the policy of the town of Sparta as a federal aid recipient to ensure that no person shall, on the ground of race, color, national origin, sex, religion, age, or disability, be excluded from participation in be denied the benefits of, or be otherwise subjected to discrimination under any of our programs and activities as provided by Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1987, and all other related non-discrimination laws and requirements. So that's the statement, and we need to approve that.
Motion.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? Show of hands, 5-0 on that. You all have before you this month's budget report. Had a chance to look over it. At this time, we'll entertain any questions to our finance officer, if you have any questions. We don't need a motion to,
Not for the finance report, but for the budget amendment.
for the budget amendment, which is budget amendment number 2. Do you want to discuss that?
Yes, this is a budget amendment number 2 for the year ending, June 30th, 2020. We are making adjustments in the sewer administration budget. We're increasing that, department $34,700, and we're decreasing contingency in that same amount. The budget stays the same, we're just, increasing money in that department. And in order for me to transfer money into another department, I need the approval of the council.
The contingency is from the water department, and it's going to the water department?
It's going to the sewer department. It's water and sewer, it's
That's-
water and sewer,
There's
it's
two different
combination.
departments?
No, yes,
Okay,
it is.
make a motion to approve that, budget amendment.
What was it for?
We had some line items in the sewer administration that went over, so we're just balancing out the budget.
One of those items was, we have to haul the sludge out of the wastewater treatment plant about 4 times a year. It varies three to 4 times, sometimes 5 times a year, just depends on the accumulation of the sludge. And we underestimated we had one extra, I think, haul
Yes,
that was not included in the budget last year. So significant part of that was the contract with Centigro, who hauls the sludge and does the land application. And the other part of it, I think, was salary.
it was salaries, I had put one person in the wrong item, but I'm just covering it through the contingency fund.
So I have a motion to accept the budget amendment number 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Show of hands, please. 5-0 to on that amendment. Brian Edwards is going to now talk to us about agenda item number 12, a capital project budget ordinance.
Right.
And that's the Krause Park expansion.
This, in your packet, you do have a copy of this budget ordinance. It is for the improvements, planned improvements and expansion at Krause Park. You're aware we did receive a $194,572 grant from the North Carolina Parks and Recreation. That is for construction of some restroom facilities, outdoor fitness area and playground upgrades, water fountains, property appraisal and application fee, and then there's a $9,572 contingency. The total amount of the budget ordinance is $204,572. What this in effect does is pulls us out of our regular operating budget and creates this capital budget, and Peggy will then administer all the grant funds and any other funds through this budget ordinance. So this is typical for capital improvement items so that they're not included into your operating budget.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second? And a second. Any further discussion? I'll have a show of hands in favor.
Brian, when will that start?
Well, we've had a few meetings, and Mike and I actually had a meeting Friday with some ideas on it. So we've got a committee, Cole's on the committee, Mike Clear, John Miller, Kevin Dow, Jane Wyatt, and myself, I guess. And
Jeff.
Jeff, that's right, Jeff Smith. So we've got a committee who is working on this, and at this point in time, we're focusing on the restroom. What are we gonna do about the restrooms over there? That's gonna be our first priority.
So we'll start soon.
Well,
In the process.
In the process, yeah, right.
Okay.
We're not ready to go to bid, I'll put it that way.
We have a time frame. though.
We're not ready for bids.
What,
We have 3 years.
3 years.
We have 3 years to implement the
Take that
project.
long.
And it won't take that long, that's right, yeah. But, we don't have a time frame at this point.
Okay, all right, I just,
Agenda item number 13 tonight is our Virginia Carolina Water Authority Board appointment, and we'll need,
John Brady's term, expiring, and he has indicated to me an interest to continue to serve on that board, so that's for the consideration of the council.
So moved.
have a motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands to keep John on the Water Authority. 4-0.
Abstain.
Thank you, John, for doing that. I appreciate
Outstanding
that.
job.
Outstanding
Well,
job.
I enjoy that board. And to be honest with you, when they first brought this up so many years ago, and they talked about the amount of money it's gonna cost to do all this stuff, I said, it ain't gonna happen. But by golly, people got behind it, the state of Virginia got behind it, people here got behind it, and it really and truly will provide the water for years and years to come for any, if we get an industry, they're gonna need water. And this will make us capable of providing. So it's a good board.
Thank you. John Brady and I are the two longest serving members on that board. They have 4 representatives from Virginia and 4 from North Carolina. And there's been a fair amount of turnover with the town and county over there and over here, but John and I were the original appointees from Sparta, and we're the only 2 originals left, John.
Yeah, I guess we are.
So we're about to be phased out, maybe.
So which one is the oldest?
Well, we went on the same time.
We're tied.
Yeah.
Neck and neck there. Good job. Appreciate you guys for being over there and doing that.
Let me make one other point about that, to John's point. We now have the new intake is up, fully operational, and we have the capability and the certification to withdraw up to 1 million gallons a day from the river. We currently are taking anywhere from 350 to 400,000. We are supplying both towns at this point, not 100%, but we could, if the need was there, to provide both towns. That would require maybe 600,000 a day. So we have considerable excess capacity at this point.
Good news. Good news. Cardboard pickup, you want to talk about that a little bit more?
I do.
The recycling
I
end
do.
of the deal?
Yeah, we, of course, in June, we heard the news about the recycling center being closed down. That still is the case, and I know that the county has just not had the opportunity by this time to really settle on a course of action over there. I'm gonna request from the council that on a month-to-month basis, that we continue to contract with Roger Brady to pick up this, it's cost us it's $275 a week, is that $275 a week is the cost to the town. And it's my recommendation that we do that on a month-to-month basis until we can have time with the county to determine what the long course of action is gonna be over there. It's not gonna cause any budget issues for us in the short term. Obviously, if this goes on into next year and there's no resolution to it, we're clearly gonna have to address it. But at this point, I think the county just needs a little more time. They've got a
So you wanna renew it for a month?
month,
And then
I think
bring it up
we'll
again?
just look at it every month, at every monthly meeting, and we'll see if the county's making any progress about making a decision, what's gonna happen with the recycle center.
So they not recycling cardboard either?
You know, Terry, they said they were, but I was over there Saturday and it was closed up and it said no
They had a
cardboard.
sign,
Yeah, the sign says, so I don't know, I haven't had a chance to talk to
They're
Roger.
garbage and everything.
Yeah, so but I haven't had a chance to talk to the county manager about it to see what the plan is gonna be. Right now, according to the sign over there, they're not recycling anything.
Taking anything.
I had, Millie, did you make the motion to?
Make a motion to approve on a month-to-month basis.
Second, discussion. All in favor, show of hands on a month-to-month.
Who did the
5.
second?
Terry.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a request before we go into our manager's report for a sign to be put up on the road there at 18, across
Across from Three Crows,
3, yeah.
there's a flower box there, or a median that currently has some flowers, and the merchants there that have those back street, Three Crows and some other merchants there, want to put up a little sign, and Kevin and I have looked at it. It's temporary. I recommend that we approve that, and it does give them some feature of that there are shops there on that back street. We've got several there now, actually.
Is that parking lot, is that the town's parking lot?
Mike, there's 5 ownerships in that parking lot, so it's
everybody.
it's everyone's.
That's
Are we one of
everybody's
the-
in
are we
Bridgeville
one of the-
Lake.
We're one of the 5.
It's a community parking lot.
It's a
up there.
community parking lot, and that's really a subject I think that we need to have some time one day and really let me give you the layout of what's there, and that might be something that,
We need to clean up some weeds.
yeah, we do, and we'll get that done. Yeah, that is our responsibility.
So I need a motion for the approval of the sign.
So moved.
I have a motion of Terry, second
Second.
by Cole. Any discussion, show of hands in support of the sign being allowed up 5-0. From there, we'll go right into our manager's report.
Okay, the budget report that was in your packet, if there's no objections to this, we will include that each month in the packet, but Peggy will not go over in detail. It's there. If there's any questions, feel free to bring that up, but the budget will be included, but she will not give a report each month to you. But anything you see there or want to know about it, we'll handle that. Next item is a consideration for a change in our policy on vacation time. Currently, Peggy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think an employee has to work for a full year before they earn any vacation time. We have very little turnover here, but from time to time, we do have a new employee coming in. They typically are younger folks, and a year is a long time for those folks to go without having any vacation. They would not have any additional, more than what they currently get, but they would accrue that on a month-to-month basis.
We don't accrue, no.
Well, but they'd be able to use it after 6 months, is that right?
Yes, but we don't do accrual.
Well, yeah, okay, we don't accrue it, but they would be able to start using some vacation time after 6 months as opposed to the 1 year.
So it would be part of what they would have gotten a year.
They wouldn't get the whole amount. They
Right.
get a portion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a suggestion. It's been probably 5 years since I come on, since we've looked at our personnel policy, and I'd like to table this and let Peggy and Whitney and some of them go over our personnel policy, because I know there's some changes, new changes in personnel policies, and I'd like to table that, make a motion to table that till next meeting.
Okay, I have a motion to table what we have here on the change in the policy.
I can second that, I got no problem with
A second, any discussion amongst the council? All in favor of tabling this till the next meeting and going over policy? 5-0 on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Terry. Yeah, we do need to look at that, and actually Whitney's done some work on it, so she has begun some of that work on it.
So do we possibly need to have a special meeting to look at the personnel policy from front to back, top to bottom?
If they get it done, they
I'd love, Whitney, what do you think, Whitney? How do you want to approach this? And of course, Ryan too is going to be
Yeah,
involved.
I kind of thought that might be one of his first projects, because we really don't have a formal personnel policy.
Well, that should be certainly addressed right away.
Yes, we've got policies that have never been put all together into a personnel policy.
Ryan, you got your first assignment coming up.
Welcome aboard.
Nothing like having it dumped in your lap right off the bat.
that. Do we have a manual of any kind about different
We have
policies?
a whole-
We have a very old manual, and then we have what I put together when I came here and then Jane worked on, because we have presented to you all. So we're sort of
A
going
little
by,
here, a little there, a little over
Yes.
yonder, over here.
yes.
But nowhere is there a concise
No.
manual that somebody like Ryan could pick up and look at.
Ryan could get assistance from Region D if I'm not correct. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think Whitney's pretty much,
Whitney sent somebody specifically
Yeah.
to the School of Government for us. So we can do that. But we do need to update the COVID-19 and all the changes that have happened over the past 3 months, plus everything that's going on, we do
Plus the
need to
past
update.
30 years.
Yeah, we do need to update it.
So we'll
And that
do
could
that.
be included as part of the new policy that can be
Yes.
included for you all to look at.
We can just include that with everything else that we've got
Right.
going on and have us a new policy.
I think it's, to Millie's point, this is probably gonna require a special session just
We need to go over it.
to really go
Right,
over.
oh, after they finish with
After,
it, yes.
yeah, or after to look at the draft,
Right.
yeah.
So y'all have that ready
Will it be a
next
closed
month?
session?
No.
We'll report back
We'll be
next
ready
month.
next month.
Yeah, we'll report back next month.
There you go.
Okay, good to go. Go ahead, Brian, with the streetscape.
Okay.
update there.
Construction update, they have been laying down the base coat of asphalt, making really good progress. We did lose one day last week due to rain. Yesterday, the asphalt plant in Jefferson caught on fire. So we lost a little time there.
Slow down
and-
just a little, huh?
All right. But they started drawing asphalt today from the plant down in Jonesville. But they were so behind because of the 4th of July holiday, so we probably lost another day or day and a half due to those kinds of situations. But all in all, going really well. They probably will finish up that base paving by tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, yeah, no later than Thursday for sure. Then they'll be working on pouring the curbs and the islands, starting at Cheek Street. Our priority is to get Cheek Street open as quickly as we can. So they're gonna be starting on the south side, working north, and the plan is to, as quickly as they can, move those barriers to the north side of Cheek Street, and that way we can get Charlie's access back open, get the pizzeria, BB&T Bank, get those businesses back in full service. That's basically the update.
Do we have two figures? The first figure of what percentage of the policy is completed, and the second figure of what percentage of our funds have been expended?
Well, we have expended all of the loan funds. First, let me say, we are on schedule and on budget. So I think just from the general statement, to answer your question, we are probably about 65% complete at this time in terms of the construction. We have expended all of the loan funds, so we are now operating off of the grant funds. We have not closed on the interim financing, but that's scheduled for
22nd.
July the 22nd. We will close on the interim financing with BB&T, but we are currently operating with the grant funds.
We haven't pulled down any grant.
We haven't
Yeah, but
pulled it down.
we're getting ready to
Yeah.
close out the loan,
Right.
2.7.
So we got 2.7 left.
About
Correct.
No,
2.5.
it's the 2.7.
Yeah, we finished the
We paid the
2.7.
2.7, so we have how much left?
About 2.5, yeah. Yeah, it's 5.1 total.
Okay, so you got 2.5 left, and you got 35% of the project to complete. But you're on schedule and on budget.
Right.
Mhm.
Very good.
Let's see, the events. We've had a request for our cruise in. Mr. Jimmy Cox lives over in Nash County. He's part of a car club over there, has several folks from Allegheny that, members of that. They want to do a cruise in on July the 25th. That's on a Saturday, I believe. It's a Saturday. They would be parking in some parking lots. They're going to make arrangements with some churches and local folks along, but it's not going to be a congregate type of an event. They will just be cruising through town and parking at certain locations.
Yeah, try that.
And they did a super job, what, a month ago, they had 250 cars at the Pike Factory and went to West Jefferson. It's a wonderful thing, it's very popular in West Jefferson as well, and these people are certainly to be commended for bringing a lot of people through our town, so I for one am very grateful that they're gonna do it and welcome them with open arms, because it is a very enjoyable event for everybody.
Of course, that's going to be close to that 3-day road market right
I
there
was
too.
gonna ask about the road market there, Main Street's not gonna be open, is it?
They'll not be open. They'll have to use the bypass, and I talked to Mr. Miles about that earlier, last week. We likely will have the main intersection closed about that time. We don't know exactly. The mast arms for the traffic signals are gonna be shipped on the 17th of July. We don't have an exact delivery date, but our push right now, the priority is to get Cheek Street open, and as soon as those mast arms arrive and they can start the installation, they'll have a crew come in and we'll try to get that work done as quickly. But while that's going on, the intersection will be totally shut down, so we'll be detouring. Of course, I think most folks are pretty well accustomed to the detours
On both sides.
on both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah.
You remember a couple of years ago when they were improving 21, what kind of bottleneck we had at the River Bridge, at a red light down at the River Bridge. Now, I'm kinda expecting another bottleneck, people trying to turn off on the bypass there also, so.
Would there be any, and he brought that up, I mean, that's a good point. Would there be any way to do like a temporary stoplight right there or something? I mean,
Down here.
at the bypass, I mean, with all that traffic, I mean, it's already backing up now.
I'll talk to the
And I
guys.
don't know if that's feasible. but-
I don't need it, but yeah, that's a good thought.
So when's the road market?
24th,
24th,
25th.
25th, and 26th.
Okay, so this is gonna be the 25th.
It's going to go right in there with all the rest of them. So that's going to be a crowded road there for a while.
I just remember a couple of years ago there, we had that 21
Mhm.
project going on there, it was traffic backed up from the bridge
Is that the way out
Pass.
past the pipe?
past the new pipe and the new pipe factory.
Mhm.
Across the top of the hill there, it was probably backed up a mile.
I guess they let one Veterans Park, in Veterans Park down there, the cars, wouldn't they?
I don't think so.
Well, when they had the pie factory, they just got together there and then took off, so
Yeah,
it's just gonna be.
they're just moving through.
Well, here's the thing, if they gather at the pipe factory, that's where a lot of people are going to be set up over.
Now, I haven't heard anything about them gathering.
No, they, I
They're
don't
just
know.
gonna come through?
They did that.
Just coming through.
Just coming through, okay. So they're just gonna have to do the best
They're
they
cruising,
can.
right? They're cruising.
They're
You're
gonna
on
be
your
crawling
own.
this way.
You're on your own right there, so.
Trying to make everybody chance a shot.
Go ahead with your other.
The next item is senior individual photos for the class of 2020, and they want to use Kraus Park on Thursday, July the 30th. They'll have a photographer team set up over there. The seniors will have appointments when they're supposed to show up. They will be required to wear masks and have distancing, but I have basically told the school they can use that, but I don't see any.
Need a motion?
Yeah, I think we ought to go ahead and
I'll
approve
make
it.
the motion to allow them to do
Second.
A motion is second, all in favor, show of hands, just let them use Krause Park for that. Thank you, and hopefully we won't have to be under any restrictions. July 17th, the governor's coming back out with another memorandum, so hopefully we'll be under something different, I hope.
Let's see, Mr. Mayor, I think, the Heritage Festival has been canceled for this year. And that's all I have.
That's sad news. I hate to see that the festival was closed, among other things. It's a big thing. It brings a lot of people to our town.
I'm gonna
But
tell you about the festival, and that's what I do a lot of. I'm not doing any festivals this year. I don't think it's safe, I don't think people have money, and I don't think I want to clean up after everybody picks up my front for sale and puts it back down. So I'm not doing any shows this year. So I think even if they had the festival, they would have a hard time getting vendors.
it's an unfortunate time in our country's time, and hopefully we can get through this and move on. There is no other business, as we had discussed earlier. At this time, I'll open the podium up for public comment. If there's anyone that would like to come up to the podium for public comment, I'll give you 3 minutes, and I'll just have to let you know that your 3 minutes is up off my phone tonight, just please state your name, and you're welcome to come to the podium at this time. Being no movement, we will close out the public comment opportunity. At this time, under General Statute 143-318.11, we're going to go into a closed session. Should be short and sweet, so if you want to hang around to the adjournment, you may. But at this time, I need a motion to go into closed session. And a second. All in favor, show of hands, please. We will now go into closed session to leave, but we do have some personnel business to take care of. On behalf of the Sparta Town Council, the interview team and the selection process that it took to find a new town manager, at this time, as mayor of the town of Sparta, I'm proud to introduce Mr. Ryan Wilmoth as our new town manager. Ryan? Say a few words there to the crowd.
I'm very excited for this opportunity. Feel a close connection with Sparta. Have ever since I came up for my initial interview. Falling in some very big shoes from Mr. Edwards, but we're geared for great success, and we're going to keep moving in a positive direction. Thank you, council. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
I also like for Brian Edwards to come up here.
This is who he is replacing. Tonight is Brian's official, I guess, from last meeting that you're running. But you're gonna be here, you're gonna be here for a couple months to help us out. I think that on behalf of the Sparta Town Council, the citizens of Sparta, and the citizens of Allegheny County, we wanna thank you for all that you've done for our county and our town. And Ryan, you got some big shoes. We have faith in you, but we want to say thank you. And we appreciate you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting for tonight.
So
In a
moved.
second, all in favor in the crowd. We're good, 5-0. Thank you very much.